Part 1, Continuation.
Ну вот мы, друзья, вчера были на прекраснейшем месте
friends,
силы,
yesterday we were at a wonderful place of power,
где мы
the place
имели возможность
of Babaji, where we had a possibility
энергия анахат в пространство и
to flood
стать огромными.
with the Anahata energy into space and become vast.
Руки там могли доставать, руки
And the hands could reach,
вершины елочек,
and the hands, co-essential to the spiritual hearts, could reach birds, squirrels, and the tops of trees.
Сегодня мы пришли к ученикам Бабаджи.
And today we have come to some of the students of Babaji from one of his incarnations. This is the place of Yukteswar and Yogananda. On many occasions, Yogananda met us here. Later on, Yukteswar joined him. But today, Yukteswar is alone. You can look at his face, his real face. His face now has size of half the height of these trees. He is smiling. I think only one portrait of him was published in the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Yogananda. Now, clairvoyants can ascertain that this portrait is fully adequate. But now, he is much larger. What kind of place of power is this? What can our teachers teach us here? On this place, we can learn the tradition that Babaji in India left to Lahiri Mahasaya, who then gave it to Yukteswar, who then gave it to Yogananda. And Yogananda realized the intentions of Babaji of spreading his meditative technique. Here, after completing the Raja Yoga course that you have mastered, you can fully realize that intention of Babaji. Here, we can learn the main pranayama of Yogananda's Kriya.
Оказалось зафиксированным в памяти людской. Что такое?
What is the pranayama of Yogananda's Kriya? It is work with Chitrini, with the Chitrini Meridian. Chitrini, also called Brahmanadi, is the meridian that traverses the very back part of the backbone. From the coccyx to the top of the skull, up to Brahmarandra, that is, the top window, Sahasrara chakra. It is one of the most subtle structures of the organism of an embodied human. Brahmanadi is a meridian or energy channel of the Brahmanic level of subtlety. This is the third Brahmanic manifestation. the third Brahmanic level.
Тем не менее, это
Nevertheless,
божественный уровень.
this is a divine level of subtlety.
Открытие этого меридиана непосредственно связано с микрокосмической
Activation
орбитой.
of this meridian is related to the microcosmic orbit.
Обращаюсь к начинающим.
You have already worked, I'm addressing the junior group, you have worked with the microcosmic orbit, but one has to point out an important detail. The modern schools of Chinese Qigong also work with the microcosmic orbit, but they have lost the traditions. Thus, this work becomes useless and meaningless. It is not beneficial, because one can work with the microcosmic orbit only after all the chakras have been fully treated. This work can only be fruitful if one doesn't eat killed food, because what has to be done with the microcosmic orbit can be done only at a very high level of subtlety, the subtlety of consciousness. If one eats coarse energy food, then it's not possible to reach the necessary subtlety. And if all chakras are not purified, not refined, then all the work with the microcosmic orbit, which is practiced in some Chinese schools of Qigong, is non-effective, meaningless work. But our chakras have all been treated. In particular, the energy for the microcosmic orbit is taken from the two bottom chakras. This energy should travel through the Sushumna and Chitrini, and of course this energy should be at a very high level of subtlety, and the chakras should be absolutely clean, developed and full of energy. This is accomplished by completing the full course of Raja Yoga, which includes the work with the chakras. Sorry, not the full course of Raja Yoga. The full course includes the microcosmic orbit and the middle meridian. At this step of the course of Raja Yoga, after the level of work with the chakras, it should be mastered. Now, we enter the place of power. Its border is here. Enter and feel the change of state. We enter this condensed stratum of energy that is inherent to Chitrini. And later we'll work with this stratum. My body is at the border. I enter and I feel an abrupt change of state. One immediately enters the bliss. This bliss is not as intensive as it was yesterday, while on the third place. But here, it's like the fragrance of flowers. We enter and we become that fragrance, a state like this. And at this level, we have to treat Chitrini. I've already described where this meridian is located, and you can read about it in our books. And now we have to exit from the Anahata backwards. Appear behind the body, and the first thing to do is to clean Chitrini with the fingers of our hands of consciousness. We must clean this entire meridian, from the top down to the coccyx. and later I will tell you what to do next.
Заходите.
So let's do it. Enter.
Что включает в себя
What is included in the main meaning of these methods?
методики, о которой мы сейчас говорим? Микрокосмическая орбита.
Microcosmic orbit. One can do it in different ways. The first step is the following. We enter from behind into the two bottom chakras, Svatisthana, Muladhara. Exit from them into the Sushumna.
И по Сушумне доверху через
And through the Sushumna, we travel to the top, through the Sahasrara, through the branches of the orbit that goes through the face, through the palate, through the front channel, and back to the bottom chakras. We learn to rotate the energy around the body through this trajectory. It travels up the Meridian Sushumna, which goes where the backbone is, to the top of the head, through the palate, through the face, through the neck, and through the front channel, and then the energy goes to the bottom, to the two bottom chakras. It raises and then goes down. This is a movement of energy through the microcosmic orbit. What happens during this? The energy goes through a kind of bioenergetical transformer, that is the front meridian, and there the energy is sublimated. This is what the front meridian is used for. This is what the microcosmic orbit is used for. All other energies become involved in this flow of energy inside the body. When they are going down through the front channel, they are purified and refined. This is sublimation of energies from a coarse state to a more subtle state. This is one of the good methods for healing the organism. There are many of these methods, and this is one of them. The second variant of the microcosmic orbit is the following. We again raise the energy, having mastered the first variant. But this time we raise the energy through the back half of the body and lower it through the front half of the body. Not through the meridians, but as if through greatly extended meridians. And this allows us to purify it at a higher level. And if we do it like this, then the legs also get involved into this orbit. Do it in parallel with me. Third step, in working with the orbit, we can do the same thing, but through the cocoon. We raise the energy through the back half of the cocoon, including the back half of the body, and in the same way, we lower it through the front half of the cocoon, including the front half of the whole body. This allows one to purify the cocoon as well, where bad energies can also reside, energies that cause disease.
Все делаем
Let's all do it.
на всех уровнях.
At all levels of spiritual
Это
advancement,
упражнение.
this exercise will be useful.
Мы очень часто можем
Very often,
делать
we
какие-то
can do giant
гигантские
universal
медитации,
meditations
но забываем при этом о своем теле.
and forget about the body.
И где-то может угнездиться тот самый очаг, который вызовет потом простуду, там что-то в этом роде. Где-нибудь какая-то мышца может заболеть. Руки также просматриваем в пределах кокона.
Also pay attention to your hands.
Можно работать
One
со
can
всеми,
work with
с головой, с
everything,
ногами, в том числе,
the head,
руки,
the
ноги.
legs,
Вот не забываем
but
про
forget
руки.
about the hands.
Они тоже должны быть очищены.
Don't forget about your hands.
Можно включать
They should be cleaned too.
исходящий поток.
That can be included when the energy goes down, and by doing this, we purify them as well.
Хорошо при этом очищаются. Ну, для нас сейчас
For us now,
в данный
at this
момент,
place of
на
power,
этом месте силы, наиболее
the
важен
most important method
прием работы именно с читрини.
is the work with
То
Chitrini.
есть мы вот читрини пальчиками
We clean
прочистим,
Chitrini with our fingers,
войдем в этот меридиан, ощутим
enter
его,
this meridian, feel it,
ощутим уровень
feel its
тонкости,
level
на
of
котором он
subtlety.
находится. Меридиан читрини
The Chitrini meridian cannot be at a level of subtlety
в более
that is
грубых
different
энергетических
than the level
состояниях.
inherent to it.
Вот тот, который ему свойственен. И вот мы что сейчас сделаем?
So what do we do now?
Значит, во-первых, мы давайте
First,
орбиту теперь
We can do the orbit by running the energy through the Chitrini meridian. We clean it this way within the body as a modification of the first variant of the work with the orbit. A wide channel goes in front. The energy goes through the two bottom chakras, raises up through the Chitrini, not through Sushumna, through the head, and then down. Make sure that the meridian is cleaned. And now do the following. Make a half turn backwards through Chitrini, and we are now motionless in Chitrini. After a half turn backwards through the orbit. And now we have to push the Chitrini plane forwards through the body. We have to equalize the energy inside the whole body to this level of subtlety. And now do the same, but through the cocoon. We do a half turn backwards, but the cocoon is large. Do a half turn backwards, and with that river of energy of oneself, move forwards through the body and merge with the whole cosmic plane of the energy of that kind, of that level of subtlety. Retain this state. The top bubble of perception should not be activated. Experience the totality of this state at this level of subtlety. This is a Brahmanic state. This method, gifted to people by Babaji, allows us to find ourselves in the Holy Spirit, or in the third Brahmanic manifestation. One can flow backwards, one can flow through the body, forwards, or around the body. We feel as if we are in a volume of water, as if a river with a gentle flow. Let the gentle flow of this level of Brahmanic subtlety wash out from the body everything that is denser and coarser. This was the intention of Babaji for the methods of his Kriya. We feel ourselves in a soft, tender flow of the Holy Spirit. Soon we will go to another place of power where we will master the same thing, but at a higher level. And now we can thank Yukteswar, who is with us. We are inside him, inside the consciousness of his, inside his divine consciousness. And of course, we are also inside of Babaji, who gifted these methods to people. So, we have done some work, but you may ask the question, why is this exercise called a pranayama? I forgot to mention this because this detail is not very important for us. It's a pranayama because this is work with energy. This is a movement of energy within the body and the cocoon. Movements of energy, exercises of this kind, are called pranayamas. In the Indian tradition for beginners, pranayamas are given together with breath exercises. And this pranayama of Yogananda's Kriya can be synchronized with the breath. When we inhale, we raise the energy behind, and with an exhale, we lower it. And then do a backward movement and pour outwards with the consciousness into this calm river, the river of the Holy Spirit. The meaning of this exercise, the value of this exercise, is the following. Those who have mastered the ability to pour themselves out into the Chitrini plane, transform Chitrini from a small channel into a large river, and become it. This is the Brahmanic level of existence. This is very important. But it does not mean that if we have done this exercise on this place of power, that we can be called Brahman. It's too premature. This is the third Brahmanic manifestation, the third level of Brahman's density. That is, the level of the divine teachers when they arise from the abode. When they pass the mirror, they enter the first Brahmanic manifestation, then the second, and then the third. It is necessary for them to become denser, in order to be more visible for embodied students. The first and the second Brahmanic manifestations are hardly visible for students. To feel a very subtle, something very subtle, something divinely subtle, one has to be at this level of subtlety. The people of the tamas guna, who eat corpses of animals, who live in gross emotions, they cannot feel God, because such people are too far from God if we analyze them on the coarseness subtlety scale. And for the first time, we find ourselves in God in the aspect of the Holy Spirit or Brahman. In the densest manifestation of Him. Those who move deeper into the depths of the Absolute. Those who can cognize the first Brahmanic manifestation, merge with it, become it, become Brahman in the first Brahmanic manifestation. Then those people reach the level of subtlety of the Creator. They can enter His abode. They can maintain this state until and after disembodiment. Then they become God in the highest meaning of this word. God in the aspect of the Creator. It is because it's very easy to enter the Creator from this state and merge with Him. These people are free from the wheel of samsara, free from Maya, from the creation. They don't have to incarnate again unless they wish to. This is attainment of divinity, full self-realization. Now, we are going to master another exercise here, which is near the previous place of power on this road. This road is also a place of power. Here we're going to clean the middle meridian and Sushumna. To do this, we have to exit from the Anahata backwards through the Chitrini meridian and become large, 3 times larger than the material body. Take a bottle brush, and with this bottle brush, clean the body. Clean the body through the Sushumna. But remember that the Sushumna goes through the backbone, and at the bottom it goes slightly forwards, and then it goes down again to enter the Muladhara. We did the same thing with the middle meridian. We cleaned it from below. But now we are going to clean it from above, which will allow us to open the middle meridian up. In modern Mahayana Buddhism, there is a ridiculous tradition in some perverted schools where people consider the highest achievement to be the ability to exit the body from Brahmarandra, the open window of the Sahasrara chakra. But in reality, this has nothing to do with the heights of spiritual advancement. This is a trifle. One has to cognize the primordial consciousness in the abode of the Creator. Leaving the body should not be one's main goal. So you can do this exercise very easily on this initial level of Buddhi Yoga. Open the Sahasrara up, exit from the body, feel yourselves very large.
Бесконечно большими вверх там или как хотим. Ну, в общем, я повторяю, что это пустяк.
I repeat that this is a trifle compared to what has to be done, and what was done by our senior group.
Ну, сейчас я прошу, значит, пожалуйста, вот.
Now I ask you to work on this road.
Кто хочет, может потом повторить.
Later, you can repeat the exercises on the first place of power.
Значит, повторяю, мы выходим из анахаты сквозь 4.
I repeat that we exit backwards from Anahata through Chitrini. We can lose our anthropomorphic forms and become the river of Brahman in the third manifestation, and then again become an anthropomorphic giant behind the body. Use a bottle brush, and with that brush, clean the meridians. That's it. Let's work. How did I find this place? It was long ago. It was one of the first places shown to me by God. It was about 30 years ago. One day, I was at home. It was a very hot summer. There was a drought going on. And I asked God, Lord, what should I do to become better and to help people? The Lord answered, put on your clothes and go. Where to? Put on your clothes, I will direct you. So I went. Where to go? Here, to the right, to this bus stop. What? Should I take the bus? Yes. What bus? The first one that will come. So I took the bus. Where to get off? I'll tell you. So I got off. What to do next? Take the next bus that comes. I took it. Where to get off? I'll tell you. At last the bus stopped near the forest road. Where to get off? Here. Where to go? To the left. Then I walked, first by paved roads, then God told me to go to the left, and then suddenly I saw smoke as if coming from a campfire. I do not have a habit of approaching campfires to see what people are doing there. This is not appropriate. Whenever I am in a forest, I seek to be alone, to be far from people, far from vanity. But this time, an irresistible desire was created in me to find out, to figure out what was near this fire. So I looked from behind some bushes, and I found no one. It was just the ground that was on fire. Someone had made a fire and left. So the ground was on fire. It was a drought, and there was no water to extinguish the fire. So, what to do? If I were to leave it like this, then a large area of the forest would be destroyed. It was so dry. The fire had already begun to destroy the trees nearby, and it would soon destroy everything around. So I went to a railroad service house. I asked a woman who was there to call a fire brigade. So she called a fire brigade came, I showed them the fire, they extinguished it. My mission was over. I went further into the forest, and on the way, near the path, I found a huge mushroom, weighing about 2 kilograms. I had never before seen such a large and absolutely clean mushroom. It did not have any worms or wormholes in it. It was not possible. It became clear that this mushroom was materialized for me as a reward for good obedience to God. Also, there was an interesting detail. At home, I cooked this mushroom, but it turned out to be absolutely tasteless. It looked very appetizing, but it was materialized so that it was without taste. Why? Probably to make me think about the origin of this mushroom and to understand that it was a miracle made for me. To make me notice this miracle. So, it was a miracle. I was thankful for the miracle and thankful for the mushroom. It was very nice. I remember this story very well. And later, I soon got a desire to visit this place again. So, I asked where to find a mushroom like this, but with taste. And God said, go there. You'll find what you seek, what you need. I went, and instead of a mushroom, this wonderful place of power was shown to me. So, like this, God teaches, God helps. So many people have visited this place, hundreds. Everyone was able to take from it what he or she wanted. But of course, many people did not retain these highest goods, these highest gifts of God. Satya Sai Baba said, many people come to the ocean, but everyone takes just what he or she wants. What he or she takes from the ocean depends on the size of the vessel they have. One person meets the ocean of God and takes only a cup to the ocean. But another person wants to stay in the ocean and become the ocean. Some people, even after meeting God, continue to seek worldly pleasures. And other people recognize the ocean of the Creator and decide to stay in Him and become Him. So, my friends and I, who have reached the goal, who have decided to stay in the ocean, to be the ocean, we made the right decision. I would like for all people to do the same. What is needed? I'm just making a comment. This is going to be a comment, and you don't have to accept this. Everyone has free will. But to make a comment, what is needed for man to get a sincere desire to drown in this ocean of the Creator and to disappear in it, one has to love God. And truly love Him. It is a very close analogy to earthly love, to our love that has a sexual nature. It is a thirst for meeting, a thirst for being near, for embracing, for merging. And this can be right only when it is done selflessly, when it is done not for the sake of one's own lust, but when it is pure love. It is when the desires of both partners are taken into account, partners that have a possibility to merge in this love. The arms of God are open. He has a desire. He has such a desire for every one of us. But most people have no such desire in return. Even the people who consider themselves to be religious actually only have a desire to be among like-minded associates. They follow pastors, those who proclaim themselves to be leaders. Usually they are pseudo-pastors, but they don't know anything about God or about the path to Him. So, one has to have a desire to cognize the Creator. One has to love Him patiently. How to achieve such love? The simplest way is to study the Holy Scriptures, and not just the scriptures of one particular sect or of any other organization. But one has to study the diversity of religious experiences and everything that God told people during the many different conditions in which people have lived during different historical periods. At periods of war, like when Islam was formed, or in peaceful periods. And only in this way we can cognize the essence of God's teaching. Discarding everything that is temporary, that God may have told through messiahs or prophets for a particular people at a particular time, and retaining the main things, that is, the main things that are eternal. In Sanskrit, there is the term Sanatana Dharma, that is, God's eternal law, God's eternal teaching. This is the essence. This is what Jesus told about. And so did Babaji and Sathya Sai Baba and all of God's messiahs and prophets talked about this. Just in different variations suitable for specific historical periods, for specific peoples. And I traveled this path. I studied everything, and I emphasized the main things. And this brought success, not only to me. You can use it too, through our books. You can use the fruits of our investigations. Our investigations that brought us success. We have learned to merge with the Creator. We can represent Him here, on earth, on the earth. And now we're busy with trying to bring this truth to the people who are ready to listen to us. But the majority of people, as usual, do not want to follow the teaching that asks one to work on oneself, to change oneself. Development is a constant enforcement of oneself to change, to become better. But people don't want this. People more willingly believe these concepts where they are promised to be saved, in quotes, of course, for something, for some payment. Pay me this much, and I'll pray for you. This is the most basic scheme that has many variations. All mass religions state this. Come to us, pay us. You can kiss our icons, and the saints will save you. Or you can rotate the drums with prayer messages. Rotate them, and you will be saved. These and all other kinds of nonsense do not make people better. It doesn't make them closer to God. But keeps them in sleep, in deception. We traveled a different path, and we have reached the goal.
И вы можете воспользоваться
And you can use our investigations,
нашими исследованиями. Лучше всего это сделать именно через книги.
The best way to do it is to read our books.
Завтра на новые места силы двинем.
Tomorrow we're going to go to other places of power. There will be new discoveries there for everyone, new steps of advancement.
Вот готовьте свои сосуды,
Prepare your vessels
вы подходите к океану,
that you take to the ocean
чтобы побольше унести.
in order to take more with you.
Что же такое истинное монашество, о котором я говорю?
What is the true
монашество? Это
monasticism that I talked about?
однонаправленность
The true monasticism
внимания,
is the unidirectionality of the attention,
однонаправленность индрий
the
сознания
unidirectionality
только
of the
на
indriyas
одну
of consciousness
цель, на
towards
Творца.
only one purpose, towards the Creator,
Поиск Творца. Это
towards
посвящение своей
searching for the
жизни
Creator.
всецело служению
It's a dedication of one's life to serving the Creator
личной
in his
эволюции.
personal evolution.
Для того, чтобы этим
To do this,
заниматься,
of course,
разумеется, исходно
one has to
нужно
have an
знать,
idea
иметь представление
about what is
о
God
Боге, о том, где искать
and where to find the
Творца.
Creator.
Вовсе не наверху относительно
Of course,
поверхности круглой
we should
Земли,
seek Him not above the surface of our round
а
planet,
именно в глубине многомерного
but in the depths
пространства.
of the multidimensional space.
Нужно найти место
One has to find
Творца
the place of the
в
Creator
Абсолюте. Нужно
in the
понять
Absolute.
смысл всего
One has to
происходящего в
understand
Вселенной.
the meaning of everything that
Нужно
happens
понимать,
in the
что Бог
Absolute.
есть любовь, и приблизиться к Нему мы можем только
One has
через
to
любовь.
understand that God is love and that one can approach Him only through love,
Ко всем живым существам,
through love to all beings,
воплощенным,
be they embodied or not.
Исключение могут
Except for
представлять
those
только те, кто
who left the Absolute
сами уже вышли из пределов Абсолюта и оказались
and went
во тьме
to
внешнего
the outer
относительно
darkness,
Его.
outer
Но
with respect to the Absolute,
ненависть к ним, культивируемая
and hatred,
рядом религиозных
which is cultivated in some religious movements, is a ridiculous thing,
то, что делает
because it is this that makes the followers of these movements
конфессий обитателями той самой тьмы.
inhabitants of that outer
Смысл как
darkness.
раз в том, чтобы стать
The
любовью.
purpose is to become
Если
love,
проповедуется ненависть к
and
кому-либо,
if hatred is preached,
то это уже не любовь.
then it is
Такой
not love.
человек становится
Such a
дьяволом.
person becomes a devil,
Тот, кто, пускай даже из религиозных
one who turns
побуждений,
oneself into hatred,
превращает
even
себя в ненависть.
supposedly out of religious purposes.
Что значит превратить себя в ненависть?
What does it mean to turn oneself into hatred?
Что такое
What are
эмоция?
emotions?
Эмоция — это состояние сознания.
Emotions are states of consciousness.
Есть некая энергия,
There is
которая
energy,
называется душой или сознанием.
which is called the soul or consciousness.
И вот сознание или душа может быть в
And
разных
the consciousness or soul
состояниях.
can be in different qualitative states. Now the wind is blowing, and one can say that the space of the forest is in the state of windy weather. Wind has permeated the forest. Before, it was calm. The states of the forest can be rainy, they can be stormy, and the forest can be covered with snow. All these are different states. In the same way, the soul or consciousness can be in different states. In the state of love, in the state of terror, in the state of hatred. And by habituating ourselves to particular states, we define our fate. If we habituated ourselves to crude emotional states, then we go to hell. We go away from God. And life is wasted. And if we seek God and make ourselves love, then we approach the states of the Creator and have good chances of merging with Him, of cognizing Him. All of this is so simple. It has been known since the time when Jesus said that God is love. But why then do so few people follow this path? I want to stress the main thing once again. Monasticism is not about wearing particular clothes or getting a new name. Monasticism is the redistribution of the Indriyas, so that most of them become directed towards searching for the Creator, towards love for Him. And the state of the consciousness becomes love for the Creator. This love implies serving Him, taking part in His work. By helping Him, we can help Him by helping all evolving beings on their path of evolution, of development, of advancement towards the attainment of divinity, towards mergence with the Creator. And this is not just a fairy tale. This is realizable. It was realized by us, and also you can accept this path and achieve success. You can know that it is true if you try.
Вот я еще раз демонстрирую сейчас,
Now, I'm showing once again
как можно войти в Творца,
how one can enter the
слиться
Creator,
с Ним, стать им,
merge with Him, and become Him,
потеряв свою индивидуальность в Нем,
by losing the individuality in Him.
в Нем все едины,
In Him, all are one.
и потом можно восстановить свою индивидуальность, выйдя из
One can
Него,
restore the individuality
став Святым Духом,
by leaving Him
Брахманом.
and becoming the Holy Spirit, or Brahman.
Выйти, пройдя вот эти три ступени
Leave Him
уплотнения,
and pass through these three levels of Brahman's density.
первую,
First,
отграниченную от Творца лишь зеркалом, но это тот же самый уровень утонченности сознания. Вторую
the second,
и третью,
and the third.
ту самую, которую мы сегодня изучали
that we,
вместе
together
с
with
Юктишваром на его месте
Yukteswar,
силы.
learned in his place of power today.
Вот еще одна философская проблема
And
из
another
этого
philosophical
вытекает.
problem
Это проблема
follows from this.
монотеизма,
It's a
политеизма,
problem
пантеизма.
of monotheism, pantheism, and polytheism.
Политеизм — это
Polytheism
вот то самое язычество,
is
это
paganism.
многобожие. Вот мы вроде говорим о пантеизм —
and
это
pantheism.
речь идет об
It's about
абсолюте.
the absolute.
Все есть Бог, то есть Бог в аспекте
That
абсолюта.
is,
Здесь
all is God,
все
God
так
in the
достаточно
aspect
понятно.
of the absolute.
Творец
It's clear.
единосущный с своим творением.
Creator, co-essential
Есть
with the
Творец,
creation.
есть творение, есть тьма внешняя.
There is the
То есть
Creator, there is the creation, and there is the outer darkness that is hell.
Монотеизм. Мы вроде говорим вот о
And about
многих
polytheism
божественных учителях,
and monotheism,
буквы, оба
we're talking
слова.
about many divine teachers,
То есть о
about
представителях
representatives
Бога
of God the
Отца.
Father. Such
Это
representatives
Иисус и Кришна, и Птахотеп,
are
и
Jesus,
Сурья,
Krishna, Птахотеп,
Осирис,
Surya, Osiris,
Бабаджи, Сатья-Сай,
Babaji, Sathra Sai
и
Baba,
многие другие.
and many others.
Требуется
It is necessary
понять, что в обители
understand
Творца они все едины.
that in the abode of the
Поэтому
Creator,
установка, которая
they are all
давалась
one.
многократно на
And this is why the directive of God
монотеистическую концепцию абсолютно верна.
for the monotheistic concept
Монотеизм.
is
Бог
absolutely
Отец
right.
един.
It is true.
Но
Monotheism,
состоит Он
God the Father
из
is
тех,
one,
кто
but He consists of those
вот во время
who merged with Him.
другого слова не подобрать, кроме как бесконечность. На протяжении бесконечности во времени вливались в Него. Он состоит из множества, которое стало
He consists
единством.
of an aggregate of many that become one.
Но об этом еще поговорим.
But we'll talk about it
Но при этом,
later.
когда из обители исходят
And when individual manifestations of God,
проявления Бога Отца,
the Father,
конкретные божественные души,
arise from the abode,
достигшие слияния
they are concrete divine
с
souls
Творцом,
that have reached mergence with the Creator in the past.
вот тогда можно говорить о существовании
One can
многих
talk
таких
about a diversity
брахманических проявлений,
of Brahmanic manifestations
проявлений божественных учителей,
or manifestations of divine
Святого Духа.
teachers in the form of the Holy Spirit.
Святой Дух — это тоже собирательное понятие.
The Holy Spirit is also a collective concept.
Конкретное проявление
It's concrete manifestations of concrete divine teachers whom
которых мы
we may
можем
know
знать или не знать по именам
or not
их
know
прежних воплощений.
by the names of their past incarnations.
Ну вот сейчас последнее упражнение на сегодня. На этой
Now let's
дорожке
gather our strength
можно будет
and
сделать.
do the last exercise today on this road.
Заходим The
exercise is the following. Enter the middle meridian from below, and at the same time the Sushumna from above. This is a very useful and interesting exercise. Between these two meridians there is a partition. If some of the organs of the body are ill, then on the partition between these two meridians we can see dark spots. If we wash out these dark spots, then the diseases get cured very quickly. Let's draw our attention to how many different methods we have used. Methods for purifying the organism, starting with pranayamas, cleansing the chakras and the meridians. Today's exercise with Chitrini, dissolving in the Brahmanic manifestations. And the exercises on cleaning the main meridians and the partition between them. All these are the next steps of burning the emanations inside the cocoon, using the terminology of Juan Matus. It is done in this way, through a gradual, step-by-step removal of dirty energy, energetic coarseness from the organism. Gradually, step by step, and when in the body there is no coarseness, when there is nothing but the Creator, and this is real, then the body, the cells of the body, gradually become divine. Jesus taught much about this through Ben Cullen. It can be read in the book of Jesus. The main citations from this book can be found in our book, God Speaks. And the result of making the cells of the body divine is the super abilities that were demonstrated by Jesus 2000 years ago. And now they are demonstrated by Sathya Sai Baba and by David Copperfield. Let those of us who want to realize this during our current incarnations also be able to do this. All of this is real. Reality is that the divine teachers have favorite places on the surface of the earth. And it is not just they who have favorite places.
И место, где
We know
Максим Горький,
the place where Maxim Gorky,
или точнее Алексей Пешков,
Alexei Peshkov,
и сейчас обитает
to be more precise,
не так далеко отсюда,
lives now,
на краю
not far from here,
населенных пунктов.
in a village.
И вот мы имели с ним неожиданные и очень приятные беседы.
We had a very pleasant conversation with him.
Глашатай любви.
He was a messenger
На одном из
of love
исторических рубежей
during one of the crucial
нашей страны.
historical phases of our country.
И Александр Сергеевич Пушкин.
And Alexander Pushkin,
его надо искать не
he is not found at the place of his grave, or at the place of the jewel, where people go on pilgrimage.
Встречаться с ним
It is easy
можно и беседовать.
to meet him,
Рад общению.
and he's very glad
Тоже в одном из
to have a conversation while in a forest near St. Petersburg,
Петербурга, на лесной заросшей
on a forest
дорожке.
footpath.
Так что вот мы говорили о
We also talked about the places of power
многих других,
of many others,
Бабаджи, Сатьясай,
like those of
и многие
Babaji
другие.
and Sathya Sai Baba, and of many, many others.
Одно любимое место имеют,
Some of them have one favorite place,
некоторые много.
others have many.
Некоторые из божественных учителей, но вот как Сатьясай, как
And some of the divine teachers, like Sathya Sai Baba, Ptahotep,
Кришна,
or Krishna,
имеют, могут быть
can be
одновременно
simultaneously
сразу
in
на
different
нескольких
places
местах в виде своих
in the
божественных
forms
огненных
of their
направлений.
divine, fiery Mahadoubles.
И вот мы знаем два места Иисуса Христа.
We also know of two
Одно
places
в
of Jesus
парке
Christ.
в Петербурге,
One is in the city park in St. Petersburg,
и одно
and
здесь.
another is here.
Наша школа ведь впервые
Our school was established
получила благословение к существованию
by the blessing
Иисуса
of Jesus
Христа.
Christ.
Но об этом я подробно писал в своей
I
автобиографии.
describe this in my
Как
autobiography
познается Бог.
in the book How God Can Be Cognized.
На протяжении многих лет я имел достаточно
During many
частые
years,
встречи с Иисусом, но потом в
I had
городе
meetings
оказалось место.
with Jesus.
Тогда вот вначале он ко мне сам приходил домой.
He came to me, to my
Обычно, когда мы
home,
собирались для каких-то занятий или обсуждений. Потом появилось место в
and
городе,
later
в
we
парке,
discovered the place in the city, in the park, where he had
где
very
мы
deep
имели очень
contacts
углубленные контакты
and long
с
conversations
ним, и
with
долгие
him.
беседы, и не только с ним, с его ближайшими апостолами,
And not only with him, but with his
с
apostles.
апостолом Филиппом.
In particular, we acquainted ourselves with Philip the
Но
Apostle.
потом вдруг
And then he
он
showed me
привел
this
меня вот
place
на это место, где ощущение его, контакт с ним,
where the feeling,
эмоциональный
of him,
контакт с ним
the
оказались
emotional contact with him,
несравненно
is much
более
brighter
яркими, чем
and
в
richer
любой другой обстановке.
than at any other place.
Вот на этой поляночке
On this glade in the forest,
мы можем очень
we
интенсивно
can
ощутить
experience
его
Jesus
Иисуса.
very
Мы можем
intensively.
войти в его улыбку,
We can enter his smile,
в его улыбающееся лицо.
his smiling
Причем
face,
обратим внимание, что вот здесь
and pay
оказалась
attention
скамейка.
to the fact that there is a
Когда-то
bench here.
здесь, на этой скамейке,
Some time ago, here on this bench,
нашли общение с Иисусом.
It was a
но
very
это
long-
очень давно
it
скамейка
was very long
уже
ago.
развалилась.
This bench now is
На этой
destroyed.
скамейке нашли общение с Иисусом
Here, people from the Orthodox
представители
religion
православного
found
направления
contact
религии.
with Jesus.
Несколько человек. Почему я могу об этом с уверенностью говорить?
Why am I sure
Ну,
about
потому
this?
что здесь вот энергетика наполнена православными
Because the
молитвами, они сами
energetics
слышатся,
of this
если
place
вот войти
is
в
full
это
of
место.
Orthodox prayers.
И более того, вот на этой
They can be
елке
heard
можно
when you enter
смотреть
this place. Near the
не
bench,
материальную,
on this fur,
но вполне реальную
one can see the
икону
non-material but
Богородицы.
very real icon of Mary, the
Цветные,
mother of Jesus.
красные, синие цвета присутствуют в окраске одежды. Совершенно реальная икона. Я вначале думал,
This is a very real
сама
icon.
Мария здесь, но оказалось,
First,
что
I
это
thought that maybe Mary was present here,
изображение, это именно икона, образ иконы. Возможно, что
but
здесь
the image is
икона была
frozen.
повешена теми, кто на этой
Probably, the
скамейке
icon was attached to this fur by the people who
общались
prayed
с
on this
Иисусом.
place, who had
Как
conversations
они
with
общались,
Jesus.
что они делали, это тоже все
How did they converse?
понятно.
What did they do?
Они читали молитвы согласно
They
православной
chanted the Orthodox
традиции.
prayers.
И они на самом деле вот достигли
They indeed reached the
того,
heights, the best
что может дать
of what
того лучшего,
orthodoxy
что
can
может дать
give.
православие. Если заглянуть в историю
If you
Hesychasm,
look at the history of
то
Hesychasm,
есть они нашли, во-первых, исихию, внутреннюю
First,
тишину, во-вторых,
they
они
found
ощутили,
the internal peace.
вместили эти величайшие
And second,
эмоции сонастройки с
they
Иисусом
felt
сладчайшим.
They encompassed the
Это есть такой
emotions
акафист
of
Иисуса
attunement to
сладчайшего,
Jesus the sweetest.
православный акафист, вот именно сладчайший, как наилюбимейший.
There is an Orthodox prayer called Jesus the
Сладчайший, как тот,
sweetest,
кто
the sweetest,
состоит
as the most
из
beloved one,
эмоций блаженства
sweetest
интенсивных.
as
И
the
вот
one who
в эти
consists of the
эмоции
emotions
сейчас я
of
вас
bliss,
приглашаю войти.
and into these emotions I invite you to enter.
А как на этом месте силы
How
работать?
to work on this place?
Нужно найти
First,
границу.
we
Вот
have
мое
to
тело
find the
находится
border.
на границе с этим местом.
My body
Это
is at the border of this
граница со всех
place.
сторон от
The
полянки.
border is around the glade.
Перешагнуть, и мы
By stepping inside, we find ourselves in the bliss,
Иисуса.
in the smile of Jesus.
Это само по себе величайшее
This is the greatest
ощущение.
experience.
Нужно побыть там, побыть внутри, но побыть не как на
One
каком-то
has to be inside,
в
but not
каком-то
inside
поле,
some field,
якобы вот
like some kind of energy
энергетическое
field.
поле. Ни в коем случае не так. Здесь
Not
живой
at all.
Иисус. Мы можем
Here is living Jesus.
видеть Его, мы
We
можем
can see Him,
активно общаться
can
с
converse with
Ним,
Him.
не только эмоционально, но Он даст
and not just emotionally,
необходимые ответы на
but He will give us
вопросы,
answers and
напутствия,
blessings too,
благословение на что-то, если мы обратимся
if
к
we
Нему
ask Him.
со всем с этим. Это совершенно реальный живой Иисус, который
Here is very real living
не
Jesus.
только на этом месте бывает,
He
который
doesn't stay all the time at this
однажды
place.
мы просто шли по лесу
can move outside.
и не очень представляли,
One day we were going
куда
through
мы
this
выйдем,
forest,
знали общее
and
направление,
we didn't know where we were
собирались.
going. We just knew the general direction.
Там пару километров уже
And about 2 kilometers before our
появился я
destination,
знал, что мы
Jesus
приближаемся
manifested
к его
himself.
любимому месту.
I knew that we were approaching His favorite
И
place.
вот пришли сюда, и еще
We
раз,
came
еще
here.
очередной раз мы
And once again,
имели наслаждение
we had the
общения
enjoyment
с Ним,
of conversing
с Божественным
with a living,
Учителем,
divine teacher,
с живым Божественным Учителем, с живым
with living God,
с
a
представителем
representative
Бога Отца, с Его
of God the Father,
частицей Бога Отца.
with a part of God the
Вот именно
Father.
так нужно сейчас будет войти на это
This
место.
is how one
Но войдя
has
на
to
это
enter this
место, мы
place.
должны побыть, ощутить, сонастроиться, стать
And once we
Им.
have entered this place, we have to
Через
attune.
сонастройку с Ним, через растворение в Нем мы становимся Им. Наша задача стать
We have to merge with Him and become Him. By tuning to Him, by merging with Him, we become Him. Our task is to become God the Father. And by merging with divine teachers, we can get an understanding of how to do it.
подаренных Богом Отцом. Мы должны приучить себя к этому. Это очень
We have to
непривычно
habituate ourselves to
для
this.
людей, которые
This
отрываются
state is not
от
very
простой
customary
жизни
for
и
people who have
становятся
only
на путь
recently moved away from the
монашества
mundane
и
life
на пути
and have
монашества
begun to travel the
постепенно
path of monasticism.
обретают
And on this path, they
ощущение
gradually
Бога живого
get
и
an
постепенно,
experience of living God.
медленно,
And
но
gradually,
все-таки
slowly, if
если
they
мы
make efforts,
ослабляем, то превращаются
they transform themselves into God,
в Бога
into
Отца
God the Father,
через стадию Святого Духа или
through the
Брахмана.
stage of the Holy Spirit,
Но
or
потом,
Brahman.
когда мы ощутим Иисуса внутри Его
After we have
улыбки,
experienced Jesus while
надо
inside
будет
His smile,
расположиться по
let us then stand around the
так
glade.
будет легче с Ним беседовать, с
This
Ним
will make it easier
контактировать.
for us to contact Him,
Лицом к лицу,
face
не
to face,
изнутри.
not from
Потому что
within,
когда мы внутри Него, то и все вопросы
because
исчезают.
when we are within Him, there are no questions.
Когда каждый из нас Иисус, то
When
и
every one of us
нечего,
is Jesus,
потому
we
что
have
и так
nothing
всё
to
ясно.
ask. Everything is clear.
Но пока что для нас это все
But for the time being, this
не
state is
постоянное
not permanent for
состояние.
us.
Пока мы можем быть такими
So for the
только
time being,
на специальных местах,
we can
в
be like
особых
this
условиях.
only on special places of power,
Потом мы
in special
приучим
conditions.
себя жить в обители
Later,
Творца.
we will learn to live in the abode of the
Как Иисус,
Creator.
как другие наши божественные учителя,
And
мы
like
будем
Jesus,
уже исходить
like
из
other
обители,
divine
вот
teachers,
тогда
we'll be able to come out from the
вместе
abode,
нас
and other
ходят
students will
воплощенные
enter us
ученики и сонастраиваются
and
с
attune to
нами.
us.
Пока вот я предлагаю вам сонастраиваться с
For the time
Иисусом.
being, I invite
Потом
you
можно будет
to attune to
присесть или
Jesus,
встать, или даже лечь.
and then later we can sit or
Сухой
lay on the ground. The moss is
и
dry,
побыть какое-то время
and stay for some time in
в
conversation,
беседе, в диалоге с Иисусом.
in dialogue
Если
with Jesus.
какие-то очень важные откровения вы получите от
If you
Него,
receive some important revelations
нужно
from
будет сразу
Him,
же записать.
you should write them
Это
down
очень важно,
immediately.
потому что
It is very important,
кажется, вначале,
because
услышав что-то,
when we hear
поняв
something,
что-то от Бога,
when we understand something from
сокровенное и
God,
очень важное, нам кажется,
something
что
very
всю жизнь
important,
запомнили это никогда не
we
сотрется
think
из памяти.
that we will
На самом деле
remember
это не
it
так.
forever.
Это стирается из памяти
But it is not true. We forget
следующими
it
слоями
when we
информации.
receive the next information.
И так можно потерять очень важное для себя.
And in this way, we can forget very important things.
Блокнотики, тетрадки, листки бумаги.
So, have your pads and pencils ready.
Если это Иисуса, то
And if you receive something from Jesus, write it
Ну,
down.
сейчас я вас приглашаю. Вот
Now,
Иисус
I invite you.
обращает
Jesus
взор на
is
вас
looking at you.
и руками приглашает к
He
себе.
is inviting you with his hands.
Прошу
So
вас
please, enter
войти в
him.
Него. Вот мы еще у одного из наших
Now, we're visiting
друзей
another divine friend of ours.
только что
Recently,
благодарили
we thanked
Иисуса
Jesus
за Даршан,
for the darshan
записали,
and wrote down some words of his.
кого-то он отругал,
Some of you were scolded by him.
кому-то наобещал чего-нибудь,
To some others,
таких-то
he promised something.
и всяких. Сейчас мы
And now,
у его
we're
соседа,
visiting his neighbor. Yasin God. Throughout the entire earth, many divine teachers work without depending on national and religious differences. Though they were incarnated in different countries, in different religious traditions, among such teachers, we know Jesus, Ptahotep, Sathya Sai Baba, Elizabeth H. Also, I should mention Manuel, who had this name during his incarnation in Manchuria, and later he was Alexander Svirsky in Russia. His incorruptible body is still reposed in one of the Orthodox monasteries. Also, we know some other divine teachers very well, who helped us a lot, who helped our school. They are divine teachers from the ancient Slavonic Aryan culture. They are Surya, and Lada. Maybe I forgot to mention someone else. Yes. Osiris worked in Russia, though he's of Assyrian origin, god of sun of ancient Assyrians. Let's not confuse him with Osiris of Egypt. This one is Osiris. Osiris, yes, is from the region of Syria, but he also worked in ancient Russia before the Christian baptism of Russia. And now we are visiting Yasin God. Under this name, he's mentioned in Russian fairy tales, Yasin God. He is here. His Mahadouble of the first Brahmanic level arises here from the abode of the Creator. This is his second favorite place. We first met him far to the north, and later we found this place. On this place, we also can see his Mahadouble. What about this place is valuable for us? Here we can enter his divine subtlety. We can enter him like how we recently entered the smile of Jesus. And we can feel his form like we did with the Mahadouble of Sathya Sai Baba, for example, or a Babaji. There is another possibility. When the consciousness is developed, we can look at our bodies from the front, which are in the front of the Mahadouble, and this allows us to fall into the Mahadouble. Let's stand with our backs to the Mahadouble. So fall into the Mahadouble with the Anahatas and feel it with the Anahatas. And this allows us to settle more firmly in the first Brahmanic Eon.
этот навык бытия именно
This habit of being in the first Brahmanic eon all the time, everywhere, and in every condition, is very important. It is from this position that we can later enter the abode of the Creator. Besides this exercise, we can also learn to determine the borders of the place when moving the body. And in every place of power, it makes sense to move the body. And of course, such places allow us to have another verbal contact with a different divine teacher. And this is always very important for us. So, friends, we continue to work with Anahata. We continue the work of making ourselves divine consciousnesses by using the method of merging with concrete manifestations of God the Father in the form of divine teachers. Now we're on the place of Osiris. Osiris, God of Sun, Sun God. How did he manifest himself here? How did we find this place? How did this place become one of the holy places of our school? First, God led us here, and we discovered this large ball of atomic light. So many times we came here to merge with that light. It continued like that for about 1 year, until one day Osiris came to our flat in the city. When we were having a lunch and a conversation, and suddenly Osiris appeared and told us about himself, about the history of his spiritual activity on the earth, in Russia in particular. And ever since then, we have come to him, knowing that this is his place. Here he manifests himself more vividly, most vividly. Maybe this is because he likes this place. And indeed, this place is amazing, especially when there is morning sunlight here, together with this large ball of light. First, I got an impression, as a joke of course, that this ball of light got caught in these wonderful trees. It was the first impression, that it got caught forever. But later, I managed to figure out the structure of this place of power. It turned out that here there is a kind of protrusion of a part of God, the Father, from the abode here into the material world. A protrusion of the curtain that separates the Creator and the creation. And here, a series, as if made a kind of bud on the body of God the Father. Around this bud, there is a Brahmanic ball of light. It is this ball of light that we discovered here. And this ball of light is seen by those who cannot yet enter the abode of the Creator. Those who currently can only reach the Brahmanic light, the light of the Holy Spirit.
How
can we work here? First, we can connect ourselves as anahatas, as spiritual hearts, with that ball of light. Second, when moving within this place of power, its diameter is about 80 meters. We can exit from our bodies and merge with the light of Osiris. And then we move as this energy of the consciousness through the anahata of the body, forwards and backwards. And the volume of the anahatas is getting like, it's like we are washing it with ourselves, but with ourselves being at the divine level. As usual, it's very important to learn to determine the border of a place of power. It's very clearly felt near these trees. Another eon dominates near these trees, the eon Proto-Prakriti. And if we enter from that side, then we can feel very vividly that we fall into light. For those who can feel it, it's very impressive. This light of Osiris is so subtle and bright in contrast with the energy of Proto-Prakriti, of the eon of Proto-Prakriti. You can read about these eons in more detail in our book, Eco-Psychology.
Книга Солнца Бога с анализом комментариев, с анализом слов Иисуса, записанных Беном Кулином. Ну вот, пожалуйста, друзья,
работаем сейчас
здесь.
Work here.
Наверное.
We will stay here for about half an hour. And for those who can do it, try to enter the first Brahmanic eon and then the Ishvaric parts of the body of Osiris. It is easy to do this by using the method of Yidham. And then we extend ourselves into the abode of the Creator. In what sense can we call Osiris or Surya the god of sun? I'm afraid that someone may think that this means a god who lives on our star called the sun. Of course, it's not like this. Rather, people who saw these very real, divine personalities perceived them as bright light, like the light of the sun. It's a very real perception of divine teachers, are the people who are able to see not just the material world, but the world of consciousness, the world of souls. And Surya and Osiris, they shine like others. They shine here in the material world. They shine as souls like divine suns. Let's discuss another theoretical point to make everyone understand what is the Holy Spirit or Brahman. First, are they the same thing? And second, what is the relation between the Holy Spirit and God the Father? The Holy Spirit, or Brahman, is the state of the divine consciousness. When certain divine teachers arise from the abode of the Creator, cross the curtain, and appear in the world of the creation. It is the divine state that people call the Holy Spirit or Brahman. In the world of the creation, they can manifest themselves at three levels. First, at the same level of subtlety as God the Father. The second Brahmanic manifestation can be created by a divine teacher, and it is the one that we see in paradise, including the interior of our planet that we studied yesterday, and including the core of the planet. And the third Brahmanic manifestation is when they manifest themselves above the surface of the planet, which is what we studied in the Pranayama meditation. So these are three Brahmanic manifestations, or manifestations of the Holy Spirit. They can be created by many divine teachers, or by any one of them. They do it to make themselves more accessible for embodied people.
Вот мы сейчас пришли на место еще
Now,
одного божественного
we have come to
учителя.
the place of another divine teacher.
Он себя не называл.
I don't know her name.
Его миссия
She didn't tell us. Her mission is to help the students
помогать
of God,
ученикам Бога, обожествлять свои верхние дантьяны.
to make their upper dantians divine.
Вот я поясню для тех, кто, может быть, не знает.
I should explain this for those who don't know what dantians are.
Энергоструктуры человеческого тела
The energy structures of the human body can be subdivided according to three different schemes.
Это чакры, индийская
First, the chakras,
система деления.
which is the Indian system of division of the energy structures.
Энергоструктур, их 7 чакр.
There are 7 chakras through the body,
От головы
from from the head to the bottom of the body. This is described in our books. I will not list them. Every chakra has its own function and is located in a certain segment of the body. In the Chinese tradition, they consider the energy structures as three dantians. The top, which is the unified field of the three upper chakras. The middle, which is the Anahata chakra. And the lower dantian, which is the unified field of the three lower chakras. These are naturally combined blocks of chakras. Each of these blocks has its own function. The third scheme consists of two bubbles, bladders of perception. Why bladders? Because they look like the anatomical swimming bladders of fish. The cocoon of a person, which surrounds a body, is divided into two bubbles, the upper and the lower. The border between them is at the level of the collarbone. And on this place of power, the goal of this divine teacher is to help students, specifically embodied students, to make their upper dantians divine, the two head chakras first of all. To do this, we first have to see the Maha double, merge into it, and feel the anthropomorphic qualities of it, or, more accurately, our bodily form. That is, we should try to feel the likeness to a human body of this body of divine consciousness that we have become. While being her, let us feel all our body's chakras, all our dantians, and our bubbles of perception. I forgot to mention why of perception, because from within each of these two bubbles, one perceives either the world of the creation from the upper bubble or the world of non-material energies and non-embodied souls from the lower bubble. So when we merge with this divine teacher, we have to retain this most subtle energy within our upper dantians. That is, we retain the energy of the first Brahmanic level of subtlety. Or in other words, we have to merge our heads with her head and retain this state, retain this level of subtlety. We also have a place of power for the same work, but for the lower dantian. And there is the middle dantian, the main one, which is the Anahata chakra, or we can speak about it as the spiritual heart. And it is surrounded by two auxiliary dantians. The upper one is for intellectual perception, first of all, and aesthetical perception, and the lower one, which is a power dantian. The main dantian is the one by which we can merge with the Creator and with the Holy Spirit. It is the middle dantian. With the middle dantian, we can enter the abode of the Creator, and later, when we can already merge with the Creator, with the middle dantian, and can then use special methods that allow us to pull into the abode all the subtlest and best aspects of the two auxiliary dantians. But it is too premature to talk about this. We'll do it when we have managed to establish ourselves in the abode of the Creator, with the energy of the middle dantian.
Ну, а сейчас вот, пожалуйста,
And now let's work for 15 minutes
если нужно больше, поработаем по слиянию
on merging our upper dantians
с верхним
with the upper dantian of this divine teacher.
Вот то лучшее,
We can now feel
что у нас
the
есть
best
в верхнем
aspects
дантяне.
of our upper dantians.
Мы сейчас можем это
We can feel them inside the Mahadouble
почувствовать в Махадубле этого
of this divine teacher.
И именно это мы
And it is
потом
these best
вберем
aspects
в обитель Творца.
that we will one day
Туда может войти только
pull into the
самое
abode of the Creator. For after all, only the best can enter the abode.